Illusions. The Adventures of a Reluctant Messiah. First part, Chapter 2. It was toward the middle of summer that I met Donald Shimoda. In 4 years flying, I've never found another pilot in the line of work I do. Flying with the wind from town to town, selling rides in an old biplane. $3 for 10 minutes in the air. But one day, just north of Ferris, Illinois, I looked down from the cockpit of my fleet, and there was an old Travel Air 4000, gold and white, landed pretty as you please in the lemon emerald hay. Mine's a free life, but it does get lonely sometimes. I saw the biplane there, thought about it for a few seconds, and decided it would be no harm to drop in. Throttle back to idle. A full rudder slip, and the fleet and I fell sideways towards the ground. Wind in the flying wires, that gentle, good sound. The slow pock of the engine, loafing its propeller around. Goggles up to better watch the landing. Cornstalks, a green leaf jungle swishing close below. Flicker of a fence, and then just cut hay as far as I could see. Stick and rudder out of the slip, a nice little round out above the land, hay brushing the tires, then the familiar crash and rattle of hard ground under wheel, slowing, and now a quick burst of noise and power to taxi beside the other plane and stop. Throttle back, switch off, the soft clack of the propeller spinning down to stop in the total quiet of July. The pilot of the Travel Air sat in the hay, his back against the left wheel of his aeroplane, and he watched me. For half a minute I watched him too, looking at the mystery of his calm. I wouldn't have been so cool just to sit there and watch another plane land in a field with me and park 10 yards away. I nodded, liking him without knowing why. "You look lonely," I said, across the distance between us. "So did you." "Don't mean to bother you. If I'm one too many, I'll be on my way." "No, I've been waiting for you." I smiled at that. "Sorry I'm late." "That's all right." I pulled off my helmet and goggles, climbed out the cockpit, and stepped to the ground. This feels good when you've been a couple of hours in the fleet. "Hope you don't mind ham and cheese," he said. Ham and cheese and maybe an ant. No handshake, no introduction of any kind. He was not a large man. Hair to his shoulders, blacker than the rubber of the tire he leaned against. Eyes dark as hawk's eyes, the kind I like in a friend, and anyone else make me feel uncomfortable indeed. He could have been a karate master on his way to some quietly violent demonstration. I accepted the sandwich and a thermos cup of water. "Who are you, anyway?" I said. "Years I've been hopping rides, never seen another barnstormer out in the fields." "Not much else I'm fit to do," he said, happily enough. "A little mechanicking, welding, roughneck a bit, skinning cats. I stay in one place too long, I get problems. So I made the airplane, and now I'm in the barnstorming business." "What kind of cat?" "I've been mad for diesel tractors since I was a kid. D8s, D9s, just for a little while in Ohio. D9s, big as a house. Double compound, low gear. Can they really push a mountain?" "There are better ways of moving mountains," he said, with a smile that lasted maybe a tenth of a second. I leaned for a minute against the lower wing of his plane, watching him. A trick of the light. It was hard to look at the man closely, as if there were a light around his head, fade in the background of faint, misty silver. "Something wrong?" he asked. "What What kind of problems did you have? Oh, nothing much. I just like to keep moving these days, same as you. I took my sandwich and walked around his plane. It was a 1928 or 1929 machine, and it was completely unscratched. Factories don't make planes as new as his was, parked there in the hay. 20 coats of hand-rubbed bitter-rate dope, at least. Paint like a mirror pulled tighter of the rims of the thing. Don, in old English gold leaf under the rim of his cockpit, and the registration on the map case said, D.W. Shimoda. The instruments were new out of the box, original 1928 flight instruments. Varnished oak control stick and rudder bar. Throttle, mixture, spark advance at the left. You never see spark advances anymore, even on the best restored antiques. No scratch anywhere. Not a patch on the fabric, not a single streak of engine oil from the cowling. Not a blade of straw on the floor of the cockpit, as though his machine hadn't flown at all, but instead had materialized on the spot through some time warp across half a century. I felt an odd, creepy cold on my neck. How long you been hopping passengers? I called across the plane to him. About a month now, 5 weeks. He was lying. 5 weeks in the fields, and I don't care who you are. You've got dirt and oil on the plane and straw on the cockpit floor no matter what. But this machine, no oil on the windshield, no flying hay stains on the leading edges of wings and tail, no bugs smashed on the propeller. That is not possible for an airplane flying through an Illinois summer. I studied the travel error another 5 minutes, and then I went back and sat down in the hay under the wing, facing the pilot. I wasn't afraid. I still liked the guy, but something was wrong. Why are you not telling me the truth? I have told you the truth, Richard, he said. The name is painted on my airplane, too. A person does not hop passengers for a month in a travel air without getting a little oil on the plane, my friend. A little dust, one patch in the fabric, hay, for God's sake, on the floor. He smiled calmly at me. There are some things you do not know. In that moment, he was a strange, other-planet person. I believed what he said, but I had no way of explaining his dual airplane parked out in the summer hayfield. This is true, but someday I'll know them all, and then you can have my airplane, Donald, because I won't need it to fly. He looked at me with interest and raised his black eyebrows. Oh, tell me. I was delighted. Someone wanted to hear my theory. People couldn't fly for a long time, I don't think, because they didn't think it was possible. So of course they didn't learn the first little principle of aerodynamics. I want to believe that there's another principle somewhere. We don't need airplanes to fly or move through walls or get to planets. We can learn how to do that without machines anywhere, if we want to. He half smiled seriously and nodded his head one time. You think that you'll learn what you wish to learn by hopping $3 rides out of hayfields? The only learning that's mattered is what I got on my own, doing what I want to do. There isn't, but if there were a soul on earth who could teach me what I want to know, then my airplane can in the sky, I'd be right off now to find him or her. The dark eyes looked at me level. Don't you believe you're guided if you really want to learn this thing? I'm guided, yes. Isn't everyone? I've always felt some kind of watching over me, sort of. And you think you'll be led to a teacher who can help you? If the teacher doesn't happen to be me, yes. Maybe that's the way it happens, he said.